It was amazing. We were at My Mind is My Business. We were chit-chatting with the people, breaking out the little knowledge here and there. You took some books. I took some T-shirts and some books, and we had an amazing time. The theme was to be real. Y'all know that song. To be real. Got to be real. Yeah, we can't say too much because the Facebook people will cut us off.
Right.
But yeah, it was an amazing weekend.
It was a good time. I had a panel with some of the fellows, and it worked out real well. Talked about some real issues concerning mental health and entrepreneurship, and for those that were married, talking about married life and getting along with your spouse, doing married life doggy style, which is what our theme is. And then after that, we had a little date night at a restaurant downtown.
Yeah, we went to downtown Houston. It was amazing. It was called Taste Baby. If you are in the Houston area, chef's kiss to the person in the back. Baby.
Yeah, it was hitting. Food was excellent. Didn't even have to, enhance it. How normally we have to enhance it.
No salt, no pepper. You didn't have to put nothing. No. Those lamb chops, fire.
Dessert was fire, and they had a live band. I mean, it checked all of my boxes for just having a good time and chilling. Checked all of the boxes.
It was amazing.
So I would encourage you, those of you that live there, you know where it's at. But find you a spot that really, where you can relax and have a good time. It's a Black-owned restaurant. I don't know if I can say that up here either, but it was just
we're still DEI safe up in here.
Yeah, okay. It was just good. I mean,
we run this thing.
So food was what it needed to be. The atmosphere was what it needed to be.
It was a grown people sort of space. Just great music. It was just a vibe. And we some friends of ours lived there, and so they kind of took us around downtown and kind of showed us some of the new things that are happening. And it was just a great time. Great time there. Great time with our friends and My Mind is My Business. Shout out to Lakeisha. Freaking amazing job, sis. She does an amazing job. It was curated well in the fact that there were just moments to gather yourself, moments to think about where you were, to figure out what you need to do. There were times to pray. There were times for us to laugh.
Reflect.
Yeah.
It was all good. I wasn't in all the women's session. That was kind of on purpose to let y'all do y'all thing. But the thing that the fellas had was good. We're looking forward to doing it again next year. I think it's going to be even bigger and even better. And we're going to really try and knock it out the park. But then we had to come back because, our flight was actually going to come back later. But there was a chance of tornadoes and all things that were jumping off here back home. So we had to book on an early flight and hurry up and get out of there, just in case Kansas done what Kansas does.
Yeah, we didn't need Wizard of Oz flying off while we were trying to fly home. So we were like, you know what? How about we go home early? It'll be okay. Which, Bella, of course, was happy to see us. So let's talk about, we're still in May. This is still Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we just want to talk about, and we kind of talked about there, when we think about mental health, it's not just a personal thing. It's not a thing that you're doing on your own. It's a thing that you all are doing together. And how do I think even in the men's panel, one of the things came up, and one of the panelists was saying, he started asking his friends, not how are you, but how is your mental health doing, or how are you feeling, those kinds of things, asking questions that are deeper. A friend of mine kind of started asking this question, how's your spirit? And I picked that up because I think it's that deeper question. It's not just the, oh, I'm fine, or all those other weird things that we say. Oh, I'm too blessed to be stressed. Baby, I'm stressed and blessed. But, I mean, that's just how life is, and life be lifing sometimes. And so when we can come together in a partnership and we are both looking at and working towards making sure that we are balanced and making sure that we are doing all the things that we need to do to support both of our mental health, then it works much better.
And I think sometimes we have to learn how, the whole thing was being real. Sometimes we got to be real with our spouse and let them know when, if I'm feeling overwhelmed or if I need some help or whatever it is. And it's okay to ask those things and just be like, look, right now the world is coming at me full blast and I'm trying to figure out how to defend and keep this thing together. And so right now I just need some support or I need some help. Mm-hmm. And it's in those times, and I say this all the time, it's in those times when you make yourself vulnerable that you have to be whoever that spouse is has to be very careful how they handle that piece. Because for a guy, if I show myself vulnerable to you and you don't treat it right, or you kind of play like it's a punk move or something like that, you never see that side again. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you have that relationship where you can just open up, then we got to be careful how we handle those type of relationships and situations.
So do you think that part of that is just that as a society, we have this idea that, boys are not supposed to cry, tough it up, suck it up, be a man. And little kids are being told that like in elementary school.
Right. I mean, yeah, I think that's the way it's been. That's certainly the way I was raised. And if you want me to be honest, I mean, I don't find there's some things wrong with that, but I don't think that you just need to be so passive either. I want to use the word passive.
No, we're not saying that. But I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, how do you learn that you can have emotions if anytime that you show an emotion that is not anger or, because for whatever reason, anger is okay. Like I can be mad and I can fight and that's okay. But if I cry or if I show that there's, that I'm hurt, then for whatever reason, that's not okay. That's still not okay. And I'm not saying to go around and you shouldn't be out here crying all the time, but I am saying that how do you teach a man that it's okay to show their emotions and not just anger, that you can show, hey, this really hurts, or hey, this is, if you don't start when they're young saying, hey, it is okay. It's not a bad thing for you to cry. You have tear ducts because God intended for you to use them.
I agree. I'm just not fully with that yet. I just ain't fully with it. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you how I feel about
you were born in the 60s.
I was born in the 60s. So, I think what needs to happen is even from a young kid's standpoint, from a male perspective, you just got to have a certain group that that you can be that open and transparent with. And everybody doesn't need.
Yeah, but at 5 or 6 years old or 7 years old in elementary school, you don't know that yet.
Well, it might be your mom when you come home. You know what I'm saying? It might be that. But I don't think that you just need to show that side to everybody.
Oh, I agree with that. I don't think you should be out here crying to everybody, but I do think there has to be the safe spaces in which you can fall apart and be put back together, and that doesn't make it bad, and it doesn't make it's not derogatory. It's not any of those things. Because if you don't ever have those spaces, then one, every time you hold that stuff in, and I think that's really something that we kind of talked about, you can't just hold it in. You will explode at some point. Mm-hmm. And you'll explode in places that didn't even deserve the explosion. I mean, at the end of the day, we've all had that pop where we've, shaking it up, shaking it up, shaking it up. And then, you thought it was funny to tell somebody to pop it open so that it would explode on them. Well, that's what happens in our lives. If we are not having these conversations, if we're just, suppressing and hiding and not having these conversations, then literally, and we see it, I see it. I mean, when I was teaching elementary school, you would see it all the time. This little kid who's 5, 6, 7, 8. Why are you so mad?
Well, then let me ask you this then. So then, does a man hold that for when he needs it?
Yeah, but I'm talking about so yeah, I get that grown men, but what I'm saying is, as parents, how do we do a better job of preparing our young men to not have to go through some of this stuff, because we make it okay for them to have safe spaces? And what you just said was, so they come home and they come to their mom. Okay, well, what about if they come to their dad? Should their dad be able to be like, okay, let's talk about this?
Well, I think that
because ultimately they should be the model. If they come to a mom and then they have more feminine tendencies, then there's this whole nother level of foolishness that starts to happen, and name calling and all this other stuff. When in reality, what should be happening is the father should be teaching them how to have these emotions in ways that are appropriate.
Well, I would agree with you on that. I think, and that would be a good thing for dads to do. And I think we need to do a better job of that. Is when our sons come to us, we allow them to be vulnerable, and they're not berated for having an emotion or crying or whatever. And maybe the terminology is no longer suck it up, but the terminology might become, hey, let's talk about this. What happened today, man? What I'm with you 100%, but what happened? To explain it to me, And so I think as guys, as fathers, we could develop a little more training on how to deal with that without coming at your son as in he's soft, but making sure that he has the opportunity to see the model of a man who can process through that.
I mean, because I think if you don't teach them how to, then they go to their moms, and then there's this whole piece of, why do they act? Why do they have feminine behaviors? Well, they have feminine behaviors because that's who's teaching them how to process their behavior.
Right, and that, in my opinion, is not a great thing, because the majority of their time it will not be around, or shouldn't be around, that kind of feminine way of processing. They need to learn how to process like a dude, whether that's, and I think we need to do a better job. I'm gonna agree with that. We need to do a better job as men, helping our young men, our boys, learn how to process as a man processes, but not as in, going to blows.
Right. Because what happens is,
process through things.
I don't know how to deal with this emotion. I cried, and then I got ostracized. And so now I just suck it up and I hold it in. And then the only emotion that I know how to do is anger, and I blow up and I fight, and then I get in trouble and I'm kicked out of school, and now I get in trouble when I get home. And so I think we have to do, when we're looking at mental health and we're talking about what does that look like as a family, we have to and this goes back to, when I know better, then I do better.
Well, yeah. And if we're talking about it from a family perspective, then I think that the mom and the dad need to come together and discuss how this is handled with the children, because I don't think it needs to be handled for boys from a feminine perspective. I think that they need to be able to see a manly way of processing information, or processing anger, or mental challenges, or whatever it is, fatigue of the day. They need to see a manly way of processing that, so that they understand it's okay to cry, or it's okay to have some feelings, be in your feelings, but as a man, that's still okay. And I think I think that we need to teach that. They need to learn that. I just what we don't need. I'm just saying how I feel. Now, y'all can be pissed if you want to. I don't really care. But what I'm saying is, you know, we don't need to create a softer generation.
Well, I think this generation
we just don't need to. We gotta stop that.
Well, I think this is a softer generation already, simply because we just have. I mean, they're noodles. They don't know how to handle anything. So you know, there's a generation, a group of people, and I won't say all. I won't make a blanket statement that the whole generation is like that. But there's just a lot of young people that just have been coddled so much so that, and they've been given the answers and they've been given all the things, and they don't necessarily want to have to think outside of the box and have to be creative and all of those things. And so there's just this thing that is happening in our world that I don't know. We got off on a totally
way off. But you know, I mean, you got to learn sometimes you take an L. You take the L. Sometimes. I mean, and taking the L is good for you.
But it also teaches you. I mean, but we also have to know how to take the L in a positive sort of way.
You got to take it in a positive way, but you got to understand you ain't gonna win all the time, and that we shouldn't create scenarios and environments that let you win all the time, because life is not. You're not going to win all the time in life.
Oh, absolutely.
So you know, learn to take an L, learn from it, and keep it pushing. That way you don't go crazy. I think we're going back to our mental health piece now because we're way off.
We're not really way off. It just went a different way than what we were actually intended to, but that's okay. So I think the thing is that, you know, over this weekend, we were able to take some time to really rest and not necessarily answer our phones like we would if we were at home. And I think that's something that we really need to think about, you know, as we look at couples. When was the last time you took that time to get away? Took the time to rest, took the time to turn the phone off.
And just catch up on some bruh. Friday, my brother was knocked. Out. I mean, don't call me. I wasn't jacking with my phone. And matter of fact, some of my partners that lived down there, I didn't even tell them I was in town yet because I didn't want to have to go and do anything. That Friday, I wanted to sleep. And that's what I did. I didn't answer my phone. I didn't do none of that. And it felt good because I needed to catch up on some rest. Because if you don't, you know, I'm not going to just, I don't believe in just burning until I burn out. So I was able to catch up on some rest, which enabled me for the rest of the weekend to be more engaged. You know what I'm saying?
I would agree.
More engaged. I wasn't tired. I had a good time, but if I wouldn't have got that rest, and sometimes being home, you just don't get the opportunity to
and
rest
then you don't know why you're a Krabby Patty, but it's because you're tired. You're sleepy. Go take a nap. Well, they came straight from Jesus.
If I tell you I'm tired, I ain't joking. You know, I mean, and respect that. You know what I'm saying? If a brother's tired or
hey, I left you alone. I went and did what I was doing, and you was just knocked out.
But that's all good because I mean, we're trying to be real, we're trying to be well, and we're trying to be together. And in order for those three things to happen, I mean, we have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of us.
All right, so time for love work.
All right.
You ready?
So yeah, what's the love work for this week?
Love work for this week. Be real, check in, ask, what's something you're feeling that I might not see? Ooh. Take some intentional rest. Take 30 phone-free minutes together. What you pointing at me for?
Okay. All right, now y'all heard her.
You know what? Here's the thing.
You heard her.
We were there. My phone was in the room.
It was in the room. It was in the room-ish. It was in the room. I won't deny that. So, but I agree. I mean, listen, unplug. Good Lord. You know, we live by this mechanism hanging in your pocket or whatever. And it's amazing to me because, you know, we were in the airport and everybody doing this. And you're looking at them same text messages that you had 15 minutes ago. That's the same post you done read 15 times. But because we think that we got to be engaged, we hold that phone.
Well,
and we
no,
never
I think
really
in the
step
airport, we really don't want anyone to actually have a conversation with us. So we try to look like we're busy so no one will actually engage. Over the place.
But I think what we need to do is put the phone down sometime, because there's a whole world, there's a whole environment that's happening around us.
Okay.
And you can choose to engage in it, or you can choose to stay standoffish.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so number 3.
Number 3 is plan a mini date. Sometime it doesn't, you don't have to leave the house. You don't have to do any of that, but plan a mini date.
What does that look like? What does a mini date look like?
A mini date could be like a mini date could be, quick, like a quickie. I mean,
no, that is not a date. That is not a date.
Oh, that's a mini dip. Okay, I'm sorry. You said a mini date. I'm sorry.
You're gonna get kicked off the Facebook.
All right. So a mini
that
date
is not a mini date.
Mini date could just be something like a quick text or showing up on your spouse's place of work, if you can do that.
Or just go to Sonic and get a slushie or get a
cherry limeade,
baby.
Yeah.
It's getting hot, and I don't know. They haven't started their specials yet, but they should be starting here pretty quick. The school's out.
Just something easy. I mean, and it doesn't have to be.
Are we protesting Sonic? I don't think so.
Do we what?
I don't think we're protest. I was like, are we protesting Sonic? I don't think so.
And it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be none of that. But just something that you can do together. And the thing about it is, if it's quick, then you can do it. Doesn't cost much, and boom, you can get together, have this wonderful time, and then go back to doing whatever you're doing. But you spend that quality time together. So that's what I think a quick date would be.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you need to work on that this week.
Oh, I got my stuff together. I need to work.
Whatever. All right. So this week we are checking in our feelings. 30 minutes, phone free, and a date. And the date could be that 30 minutes of phone free. The mini date could be part of what's happening with that phone free 30 minutes.
Could be.
So you could incorporate those two things together, so you only really have 2 homework items or love work items.
And put your phone down. I mean, it's not that hard. You set it down and you walk away.
Is it just like that?
It's just
you set it down and walk away.
Or you leave it in the house on purpose. I leave my phone in the house sometimes on purpose.
It rings like nobody's.
I mean, because I don't want to answer it. I mean, I am engaged in the moment of what I'm doing, and that's enough.
You're engaged in this moment?
Yes, and you're engaged in the moment, and it is enough. Because if it's not enough, then you'll have to go search and pick up your phone and be connecting all this stuff. Can you live in the moment and the moment be enough?
Absolutely. Because our moments should be moments that are building and connecting us together. They should be quiet. They should be times that we come together and really are intentional about building our relationship.
Yeah, I agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's your love work. We're just thrilled to be engaging with y'all on this whole doggy style journey. I mean, seriously. And so hopefully you're gaining something, learning something from this. We don't have it perfect, but we have put in 35 years. Okay. And almost 35 years. And, we don't have a how God restored us after a fall type situation. And it's cool. Everybody, why do we have to take the hard way? Why do we have to say, well, yeah, the Lord restored our marriage after such. No, we ain't got that testimony. I don't want that testimony. How about we just done the thing right from the jump? What's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody got to have a come up story. I don't need a come up story. How about I just stay up?
Just stay up.
Yeah.
All the way up. All the way up. All right, here we go. All right, so be real, be rested, be available for one another.
And be together.
Absolutely. And so we want to just remind you that next Tuesday, we are going to do another St. Thomas talk. So we have been working on that. You can go to Marriage Encounters, go to jmichellevan.com/marriage encounters, and you will come to the page that has all of the things that are going to be happening for this year. So in June, we're going to have a get together. We're going to do barbecue and games, grilling and chilling. And then we've got something else in the fall.
Having it in September.
Yeah.
And then we'll do another probably
Christmas fun thing.
Paint and
something. I don't know. We don't know what we're going to do, but we'll have something fun in December. And then March, we will be going to St. Thomas. And so we want to meet with any of you that have questions about that. We want to go ahead and start getting your deposits. Some of y'all are getting your tax money back. Let's go ahead and get those deposits taken care of. Your deposit is $500 that's for both of you, $500 for a couple. And so we just want to get those deposits in so that we can get our spot secured. And then we'll be able to give you specific details about what we're doing and what we're not doing. But we have to kind of know a number. And your dollars are what holds your space.
Right. And quit tripping, bro. Quit tripping. You know, I mean, here's my thing. People do whatever they want to do, and they fund whatever they want to do.
And so, however much it costs.
Yeah. So if you want to come hang out in St. Thomas, it's going to be a wonderful time. It's going to be a wonderful trip. Then put the deposit down. And trust me, you know, you're not paying a little above and beyond so that we can go for free. I got this.
Yeah, everybody's paying.
Yeah,
so
I can go.
And you're not paying. And you're not paying us. We literally are. We literally are paying for the facility, paying for the food, making sure that we provide you with some amazing accoutrements when you get there, and we want it to be an absolutely relaxing, engaging, beautiful experience for you. We have places for us to be able to meet, places for us to be able to engage, some activities that you will do on your own, and you and your spouse will just be able to have some time. So, you know, everything is not about us. We will have some engagement in the morning, and then you kind of have free time, and you can meet with other couples, and, you know,
you can do your own thing.
Yeah. But, and we'll have, you know, a chef that'll be coming and be preparing food for us. And just, it's going to be amazing. Amazing. Our friends that live in St. Thomas are curating this for us.
And excited about it.
And
so it's gonna be a wonderful time.
There will be another, some of our other friends that will be coming from North Carolina. They're bringing some of their couples. And so we believe that our goal is to have 20 couples there for the weekend. You know, if you choose to be in the number, then get your stuff together. If you choose not to, that's cool too. But we want to be able to have an amazing time. So we're going to, you know, we'll be choosy about who we allow to come, because we don't want no drama. We don't want no crazy. We don't want no, you know, this ain't Housewives.
Right. This ain't Housewives and none of them other joints, you know, that they show on TV. So we want you to come and have a great time. It's going to be a great time. So
until next time, keep living with, say it together, faith, fun, and forever love.
Doggy style.
Bye.
Peace.
Join us each Monday for uplifting sessions to help your marriage not just survive, but thrive. Go to https:/jmichellevan.com/marriage encounter. Also subscribe to our YouTube page at Marriage Encounters BAM Facebook group, Marriage Encounters with Bill and Michelle.